Thanks for tuning in to the World XP podcast. If you're enjoying the content, please drop us up, drop a like, and let us know your thoughts below in the comments. Also, please consider supporting our podcast via the link below. It really helps us out. Welcome, Terrance, to the World XP podcast. We met, I don't know why I feel the need to tell everybody where I met everybody, but we met to give shout out to Mike at the World Cup pop-up shop. We met virtually there. Actually, we crossed paths and didn't actually talk. So
it's how it goes. That's how it is this day and age. Because I definitely saw everything, and then I posted it, and I resaw it, and I saw you shared it, and I was like, wait a minute, that's the guy that was sitting right in front of me by the bar. But
yeah,
it's all good. It's all good. It's just how it goes nowadays.
yeah, for sure.
We connected here, and that's just how you do it. That's how you do it nowadays.
Man. Yeah, and I feel like the face to the name, like everybody's got different brands and stuff that sometimes their face isn't on it. Like you cross paths with somebody that you didn't realize that that's who that was. Dude, the world is funny, man. The world is funny.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like, do we have the same mic? Do you have a Blue Yeti?
I do. I don't have a desk. I had to move everything, as like I said, before we jumped on my black couch, and I had a black jacket on. I was like, wait a minute, you can't see me. So yes, a part of the shout out Blue Yeti. So luckily I had to stand. I was like, maybe I could hold it, but
I tried to do that. I had one where I was holding this one. I went to do it in person, and I've got another one that in like previous episodes is like the arm one that comes down, so I can like move it around, because sometimes I'll like sit back that way, and like I can just move it with me.
Oh yeah.
But this one, like, it's so nice. It was given to me by my friend Tommy. Shout out to Tommy. But yeah, super nice mic. Yeah, so I was holding it like this the whole time, and I feel like I looked like an idiot. So
just like holding it like a little kid, like waiting for snack time.
I was either like holding it like this, but then like your finger gets caught in the thing, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, man.
You gotta love it.
These are great mics. So why do you have a mic then? Just cause?
Yeah, so I used to have a little bit of a podcast myself many years ago. Not many years ago, but just always just into like doing audio manipulation, recording music, and I tried doing the podcast thing, but it just didn't really fit for me after a while. So I just kept the mic. So anytime I do interviews and people are like, wow, you got this really nice mic, I'm like, yeah, shout out to Blue Yeti. I've had this thing for a minute. So I might even upgrade it, to kind of see, you never know what happens. I might even get the little arm stand too, just so I can look professional and super dope. Have my nice little backdrop and my stream lights and all that stuff. So it helps elevate the experience to hear my, as people say, my radio voice is what they say.
You do have one. To be fair. Like, yeah, talking to people with mics is so much better, because there's so much less like the last one I did with Omar. He was in London, and so he was on like hotel Wi-Fi on his phone with just like normal like headphones or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like cutting in and out, and then like my audio jack was having its own problems, and it was just like a whole thing. We got through it though. But yeah, so this is always nice, because people always ask questions too when they come. They're like, "Do I need anything?" I'm like, just don't talk straight into the computer. And aside from that, it should be fine. Like, this is not a high class operation over here.
No, I definitely came prepared. I busted out the stream light. I moved the background. I wish I had something like a little bit of a backdrop thing, and not just like the couch in my little studio.
Yeah.
But it makes it work.
Yeah, for sure. I need to find something. Like, I have
oh yeah,
I have that, but like, shout out to Terrance. I'm giving all the shout outs today. He drew it.
Way to go. It's the way to go.
But like the way that my wife and our apartment is set up, that like so her desk is like back there, so I can't like put up like a backdrop that's like here.
cutting the wife off.
It'd be like going to confession every day, and then that would just be weird, man. Can't be having that.
Gotta love it.
So I need to figure out a way eventually to do it, but maybe one day. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll happen one day. But for now, I'll continue with my wall.
For sure. Yeah. We'll get there soon enough, and then we'll come back for round two with our extremely branded backgrounds and
Yeah.
not just the Zoom backgrounds. I just found out my this desktop that I have that I can actually plug the microphone in. It's
Mhm.
so old. Like the OS on is so old. It was like this system does not support virtual backgrounds. I was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. But old reliable keeps it done. So I'm not mad at it, but I think it's telling me that I need to definitely upgrade to something new.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I have questions for you about your experience in the podcasting. How long ago were you doing that?
Yeah, probably around, geez, I would say maybe 2016 until about 2018. It pretty much was
Oh.
just like, so like my background is in just like design, marketing, creative direction, and like social media. So I was kind of using it as a way when I came out of undergrad to just speak about stuff or talk about, uh, what's going on marketing trend wise. I was trying to be like the next Gary V at the time. That name was
Yeah.
floating around. I was like,
Still is,
yeah,
man.
yeah, I was like, I can be the young Gary V, I can spread my knowledge and everything that I'm learning about, getting into the workforce, and here's what I'm seeing, here's what I'm not. But after a while, it's just like being able to push out that much content. And then it's like, okay, I got to figure out when I'm going to record it, what I'm going to say. Is it, captivating enough? Am I just going to keep repeating myself over and over? But after a while, I was using it for D17 to like talk about brand updates. Like, oh, this is what we're doing on the brand side, whether it's like a sports sponsorship or if it's actually just anything going on. It was
Mm,
like my platform to get information out, and it did well for a minute, but I kind of fell out of it. It may come back one day, it might not, but I'm glad for the time that it was, because I really was trying to make shift in my way old first job. I was taking the profile picture like in the break room, like with my phone, trying to like not get caught because
yeah,
I was like like a marketing coordinator at a
yeah,
mortgage firm, and I was trying to like sneak in the back to like take this picture and then try to edit it on my lunch break, and then I was trying to do episodes in the car because I didn't want to get caught, and I'm like trying to use my phone to capture stuff. Then you got to go back and edit it and then get it out and then post about it, and then I was like, all right, that's one. And then
yeah.
people are like, when's two, when's three, when's four? And it's like, well, maybe the
Never.
podcasting. I think I'm better as a guest at this point. So
I don't know. Who knows, man? Yeah, I've noticed that myself. Like two of the three things that you mentioned was like, yeah, it is a lot to get out, a lot of
mm,
content, which is I had tried to do the thing where I was gonna try and find like clips for everyone that were in real form and then like 5 minute video form. And then that got to be too much and I wasn't able to be consistent with it enough. And then like, but I figured just being consistent with at least the long form ones. Like the thing with that is like, I feel like I do it because I like it, not because I
mm,
want to blow up
yeah,
because this is not going this is not going anywhere. Um it's not going anywhere. It's just not going. I don't know. I'm not like a social media marketing kind of person, if
it's
that
all
makes
good.
sense. So like I've been trying to learn and it's like it's so much less complicated and more complicated at the same time than people who aren't in it think it is. Like there's so
Yeah.
many like nuances that you need to know and then once you know them, like I don't even know all of them, but like they all start to just make sense and like come together and it's very strange. And then to your point about am I repeating myself? It's like I feel like I am. So I try. That's why I try to get different people from like variety of different backgrounds on. So like
Mm,
you're a marketing guy, clothing brand guy, and then like I had a soccer coach on. I've had an immunologist on, an army ranger, video game designer. It's like none of these people are the same. So I try to like not do it because you have
yeah.
like your worldview that you speak from, and like it all kind of comes back to the same like basic principles. Like if you're most people are principled enough that when
Mm,
you have a discussion on something, it all kind of you can boil it down to like this person is this way about XYZ thing. Um, so I try and keep it diverse enough to where I can talk about the thing rather than like I don't know, rather than it getting boiled down to like something else that I've already said. But it's
Yeah, for
hard
sure.
too. It's hard to find guests as well. So that's tough. But
Yeah, I came flying out of the DMs, literally.
you did, you killed it. I needed one. I
I
needed
li-
one.
when I saw it, it's crazy because I think maybe you reposted somebody or like you posted someone else, and I went back.
I reposted my own account.
Oh shoot, I saw it and I was like, oh, he's got a podcast. I was like, that's sick. So I was just like, all right, let me just DM. And luckily now I'm at the point that I can send people like my bio or something or like other things that I've been on. So it's not, yeah, I feel like some people they're like, oh, where else have you been? And they're just like, this is my first one, which is still cool. But
It
it's
is
like,
cool.
but I'm just like, yeah, here's other like list of shows and publications that I've been on in the past,
Yeah. It's
when
like
you're
you're
trying to
way
like
overqualified for this one.
look, I'm here to have some fun. I'm here to talk whatever clothing stuff, soccer stuff, because now my brand is starting to get a little bit more into the soccer space, which is
Mm,
great. And being able just to have like just wholesome organic conversation because I know when people listen, they just like to hear, like you said, the worldly view of things, which is like how a lot of, I guess you could say, my career in whatever has gone. I just have a
mm,
lot of perspectives on a lot of things because I've just been around a lot of stuff um in a way that helps just shape what my opinions are, like things I like or I don't like, or if I want to make a new product, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm not seeing, and kind of just going from there. So that's definitely
yeah,
just the good part. Oh shit, somebody called me.
you're good.
Sorry.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. But you got to be observant enough too. Like a lot of people are around a lot of different things, and then like when you talk to them, it doesn't come through
Yeah.
that they've been doing that. So for a creative, like for creative types, like I'm not creative, but I'm definitely not a like what you would consider like a creative type.
Yeah.
And I
It,
haven't been around those people often because it's so hard to get, as I'm sure you figured out, to be that sort of like mindset and then to like either monetize it or make a living off it is super difficult. So to find those people that are just doing what their thing is like very recently I've fallen into it a bunch. And
yeah.
it's been really cool to see because all these people have gazillion different ideas. And then some that I'm closer to, I'm like, all right, you gotta slow down, dude. Like and figure out how to make these two things work before you do things eight, nine, and 10.
Yeah.
So
That
it's been interesting to see like the clash of personalities and like or not clash, but like how people are different and like how people are working together to do different things. Like you got the creatives and then you need like the sort of more like conscientious people to kind of make sure that the business doesn't go away.
mhm.
And then to see creatives learn that side has been really cool also because it's like having both of them makes you super dangerous, like going out
Yeah.
into the world.
It's definitely, I know, like for myself being, I guess you could say, more of a creative, but really had to learn the marketing side through like connections or like,
Mm-hmm.
reading, studying a whole bunch of stuff. Cause I always tell people, even I used to work for like Asics, like the
Mm-hmm.
sneaker company,
Yeah,
about
yeah.
like a year ago, and I was on the marketing team. I wasn't on the creative team, and it's always interesting because when you talk to people or you talk to other people within a business, they're always saying like, oh, like the creative people, uh they always sit in their rooms and with the lights off, and they're always doing crazy stuff, or like you go into the creative office, they're always watching like cartoons and like, uh, you know, eating bananas with their feet kicked up to get their ideas flowing, stuff like that. And I'm on the marketing team. Obviously, we're, punching numbers and data and revenue and profit and all that stuff. And I'm like sitting in the corner, like, oh no, I hope they don't know. Before everyone came in, I sat in the dark with my coffee for about 2 hours, just getting my ideas going. So like you said, it's interesting being a creative and then learning the marketing side. Then it's also interesting being a marketer and learning the creative side. 'Cause it's like, okay, not every idea that you have is going to get off the ground, but then it's also like being creative. It's like, hey, just because you want to do, let's say an ad campaign, you want to spray paint the moon, that's not going to happen. But then you can do
Yeah.
something a little bit more, viable or just easier to, create or maintain. Because there's been times where I was like, I used to work at one job in like Western Maryland,
Hmm.
and we did like nonprofit like philanthropy and stuff. And one of my things, so basically like raising money for schools or charities or organizations and stuff like that. And I remember we were in our marketing meeting, and I was like, yeah, we should do this thing where we take our CEO, and if we raise enough money from an organization or XYZ, he's gonna go bungee jumping. And then, and it sounded cool in theory, but then it was like, I don't think our CEO is gonna go bungee jumping. He's also like, I think he was like in his 60s at the time. So it's like, let's not, take this man randomly somewhere and film
Headline of
it.
accidental death or injury.
Yeah, I was not trying to get into any of that. And then eventually, when I was at A6, you go to a bigger company, even something that it's like, let's do this. And you got to go through legal, you got to go through this person, this person, this person. So being able to, get a feel for it, you got to know like what you're playing with and what you're not. Like if you do have an idea that's adventurous, you can just, try to shoot for it as long as the budget's there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then, sometimes those adventurous ideas are like what sets you over or makes you different than somebody else. So, I mean, hey, I'm all for something crazy, but as long as I'm not the one bungee jumping, I'll skydive though, but I'm not bungee jumping.
Yeah, 100%. So it's interesting you say that because I had to do the opposite transition. I
Mm,
would always be the more like, all right, let's not like that's a bit crazy. Let's try something else. And so I've had to learn to be like, because I'll have the idea and then I'll tell myself that it won't work. So I've had to learn to
yeah,
be like, no, 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 we're just gonna try it. And some of the stuff has worked and some hasn't, but like that's part of the learning thing. It's been really interesting to come at it from the other way. And so that's why I mentioned like hanging with the creative types a little bit more. That's been sort of like eye opening for sure. It's a good balance for me because, like you said, going through legal and all the business people, like I'm that type of person, which is like, and
yeah,
then and then when your idea gets to me in that room, I'm the one that'll be like, maybe we should try this because there's
yeah.
people that are like all the way on the other end where they're like, nope, nobody's done this before, so we're never gonna do it. And it's like, eh,
It's always
boring.
fun. I've learned, um, at this part of my career, it's always great when it works. They might not like it at first, but then when it hits and then you see all the social media blowing up, the
Hmm.
website traffic going up, people are randomly buying everything, then they're like, "Oh, he's a genius. Why did
Yeah,
he?" Even if it's just like the smallest thing, it's like, let's start doing this. And then it's like, oh, let's do it again. That's when it starts to get crazy when it's like, let's do it again. And it's like, no, this was a one-time thing. We
yeah,
cannot let the CEO bungee jump 2 times in the year.
yeah,
Like just
yeah,
because
yeah.
we know it's gonna bring in this much revenue or just like exposure. But I'll take a good one risk a year to do that. And I even did it before with my own brand. So, obviously, business, you gotta make money and
Hmm.
to thrive and keep going. So I remember we did a release with my alma mater at Towson University. And we ended up doing like 200 free t-shirts for the homecoming game,
Hmm.
which was great. And when we went up there, it was kind of a risk because it's like, okay, I'm just making shirts and I'm just pulling up to the campus with, with a
Yeah.
box of t-shirts and a table and a clothing rack. And we ended up selling them out in 30 minutes, which was great. But also it was like, taking that risk. And I was like, okay, let's see what we can get from it in a way to really like connect with the community again. But also it's like, we're not going to make a bunch of money. Honestly, we're giving it away. But, the connections, the social media followings, the new people you meet, like I met so many people just taking the risk.
Hmm.
And it was great because we did the free release. And then literally a month later, I did another I did another one for free. I was like, yeah, we just gonna do free t-shirts. I hit 700 followers on Instagram, and I was like, you know what? Let's do 700 followers free t-shirt. You know, like the first like 100 people get a free shirt.
Hmm.
So if I was the accountant or whoever, doing the books, because I have to play the accountant too. But
Yeah.
if I had an accountant doing the books, they'd be like, what the heck did you just do? You just blew all this and just gave it away. And I'm just like, oh geez, yeah, I
The
did.
future
But
investment.
it worked. It worked because
Yeah.
then even especially from the clothing side, there's people that they might not have seen the product before. It sucks because I don't have an actual like physical store. We're all e-commerce, but
Hmm.
they may not have touched the product. They may have not seen it before. We're kind of getting out of the new brand phase. Now it's like just getting a little bit more seasoned now. And it's like it gives them that first opportunity, even though it was a free t-shirt and it's still great. It's great quality and everything. But it allows them to kind of get in within it without having to purchase something in the front. They might purchase later. They're like, oh yeah, I got the free shirt from 2020. I might grab something else when they actually release something, whatever it is. I just haven't figured that out yet. But then did the second round of free shirts. And then in my mind, I'm like, you know what? Let's do it again. I'm already gearing up to do another one. I'll probably slow down a little bit after that, but it's just dope seeing people come together over it's just a t-shirt, but being able to see people come together from it. My goal is, to see it when I'm like 60 or something, and one of my, I don't know, kid or grandkid are like, hey, dad, did you do this? And I'm like, oh yeah. I did do that. It's on eBay
Yeah.
or something like that, or they see some kid in school who has like one of my shirts on from 30 years ago. I'm probably retired and living on a ranch somewhere in Colorado, but I'm like, yeah, I did that. Those are the days
Yeah.
sitting in the studio with the floating head from my dark couch and my stream lights. So just how it
Yeah,
goes.
dude. Yeah, for sure. You mentioned something the Mr. Beast talked about that when he was on, I forgot what podcast he was on, but he was saying like you take like a couple risks and then they work. He's like you don't keep going until it's dead. You like try to find the new one before the
Yeah.
old one is dead because that's how you stay ahead of stuff. Um, so also remind me afterwards. I have an idea or two for you for things that we can talk about offline.
Yeah.
Um, but okay, so you started first. How did you come up with the name D17?
So the D is just from my last name is Diggs, so that's just
Mm-hmm.
where the D came from. And the 17 was my number when I played sports in high school. I played a lot of lacrosse in high school. Actually later on in like my high school career, like a lot of my friends, they played JV, freshmen and stuff like that. I literally pulled up junior year.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have cleats. Just showed up. I mean, I naturally was like already athletic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just pulled up, made the team, and that was the number that I ended up getting. Because originally I wanted to get 18 because there was another African American lacrosse player at Johns Hopkins University. His name
Mm-hmm.
was Kyle Harrison. He was 18, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be this guy. I'm gonna be this guy. I'm gonna get 18 and be like him. And I ended up getting 17, which it kind of is what it is. But I also used to have like a freelance kind of like design studio for about 4 years, and it was called D17 Productions.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember all the time when people would ask me, because I started the design studio and the clothing around the same like time frame. Anytime I see somebody like at the bar or just hanging out, it's like, oh, how's D17? How's D17? I'm like, are you talking about my design stuff or the clothes? Trying to
Yeah.
navigate the name. Then I ended up like stop doing the freelance stuff and just kept the name because it was cool. It didn't have like a name to it. It was just a letter and two numbers, which was
Yeah.
kind of like mysterious to me in a way. Um, and then also like the 17 represented just the community that I came from. Like we were always talking about, you know, family and knowing where home is and how sports really just kind of centered who I am as a person back in high school. So being able to kind of tie that all into one thing is where the brand really came from, because originally I was trying to be like a, streetwear hype beast type of brand when I first started. Um, and then that's when you really try to figure out like your brand identity and what it really means. And I had a friend, and I always tell this story. So shout out to Marley if she listens to this episode, which I've said in multiple times. I did a T-shirt way probably 2016, beginning of 17, and gave them out to my friends. People bought it, XYZ, and she played soccer, and she took the shirt and then she wore it to the gym. She was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest, gym shirt I ever had." And I was like, "Wait a minute, it's not a gym shirt. It's supposed to be like cool, you know, high fashiony stuff." And she thought it was like an athletic wear shirt. So that's when
What
I
was the
kind of
material?
it was just cotton.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe it just I mean, at the time I didn't know what I was doing. It was
Yeah,
nice. It was
yeah.
nice to like work out in and stuff. But yeah, it was just like a regular old cotton t-shirt. Now I have like blends and stuff like that, Colin polyester, all that stuff. But back then it was just a regular old cotton t-shirt. And I don't know if she was just like hyping me up because I just started the business, and she's just, she's a good friend of mine. But she was like, "Oh, this is a great like shirt to go to the gym in." And I'm like, why did you do that? That's not what it is meant for. And I was trying to think back to, people knew me as an athlete. They knew me through sports. They knew me through athletics. They knew me through, because I mean, I work in sports now. So I've always been in that realm. And that's where it kind of took it, I'd say, probably right before COVID, like 2019, beginning of 2020, is when we started to enter the soccer space with Columbia FC, doing like
Mm-hmm.
the like Maryland Majors, EPSL, stuff like that. We do a lot of just sports sponsorships with a lot of the teams, whether it's, for jerseys or, website sponsors, and being able to just provide that back to the space. Um, which eventually led to like World Cup pop up, talking to A&M pickup, stuff like that. And really just bringing the community that I've kind of been building into just this one kind of like universe in a way is what it's
Mm-hmm.
becoming, which is awesome. Being able to see it from a soccer space. We've done stuff with just like helping women of color and developing their business communities. We've done stuff miraculously in pickleball, which is like the thing that everybody loves now, and I love it too.
Yeah.
Especially also in the running space too, because we have a run club. It's probably about 150, 200 of us, which is great. And being able to, tie things back. We have people from Columbia FC that come out running with us, and being able to just build that community aspect um, through sports and creating opportunity. Because, like I said, I think I could have had a really long, prosperous lacrosse career, but I literally did not pick it up until my junior year. So I really had like 1 year to get it under my belt.
Mm-hmm.
And even I played golf too, all through high school, and I just picked it up freshman year. It wasn't like, I grew up playing XYZ. I literally got some clubs from Dick's and showed up the tryouts and made it, because I played basketball for a long time as well. But I didn't grow to be 6'4". I kind of stopped at 5'11", 6 foot, and I'm not dunking over anybody, so that kind of died. So but being able still to keep athletics in the center of my life even now. Like I even played in a soccer league. Now I never played a day in my life. Went out and played in an adult rec league with the homies. We actually won the championship, which was great. In our pool, I played up top. I felt like I was just, you know, doing my greatest Mbappe impressions, and sadly missing everything. But I felt like I had the hair long like I have now. Everybody's thinking I'm like this crazy academy kid. I'm like, nah. They ask me the back line. They're like, how long you guys been playing for? I'm like, I said 3 weeks. I'm dying after like 3 runs. But it's just fun. I love playing sports. And I was just telling my sister earlier, I think I'm just gonna every year play something different. I played kickball one summer, played basketball one summer. We did soccer. I might play volleyball. I don't know,
Volleyball's fun, man.
softball, whatever I can do to just get back with my friends because a lot of my friends are my teammates from high school and like when I did intramural stuff in college. So hey, I'm just a guy that likes sports and I like design.
Yeah, fair enough. You mentioned something like everyone's coming together in that universe, and
Yeah.
I've started to feel that way as well. Like there's a lot of people with like small businesses or side hustles that are in like whether it's kind of your area or Northern Virginia
Hmm.
that I didn't really know what I expected in terms of like if people were going to try to help each other or be competitive or whatever. But everyone
No.
seems to be like everyone is trying to help each other and share each other's stuff and like put each other on for different things and even people that are in like the same like that would be considered like direct competitors, people are still
Hmm.
like trying to help each other. And that's been really cool because I think people have realized like there's enough for everybody to go around. Like people respect
Yeah.
the people that are grinding for different things. Like
It
you
happens.
sell clothes, I sell clothes, you sell more clothes than me, but like I share your stuff, you've shared my stuff. Like so it's really cool to kind of be in that environment almost like at the pop-up like everybody is like sharing each other's stuff and like we're like look at this cool thing that we're trying to build together as like
Yeah.
a
It was
community and half of like I didn't know anybody really and everyone was like yeah come on in and it was like it was really cool to be a part of that.
Yeah, it was great. And I knew when I came in, so I had my Columbia FC kit on when I
Hmm.
came in. And I always seen Columbia play Maryland Bobcats all the time. So
Hmm.
I saw them, I was like, oh, they're gonna get on me because I have my Columbia stuff on. And I'm really good friends with the coach, Carlos, and I thought he was gonna be there. And he's a real just energetic guy. So I thought he'd come in there just screaming his stuff on as some of the players, but sadly I missed him. But I forgot who it was, but someone came up to me like, what kit are you wearing? I was like, oh wow, yeah, this is Columbia FC. This is the Maryland Majors one. I got the badge on the sleeve and everything. And they're like, well, that's so cool. They're like, I think we played you guys before. I was like, I think we did, no crazy rivalry or like we're just gonna start throwing, our beer special pitchers at each other. But it was just cool even to connect with them, even the players, even like the Annapolis Blues, like seeing what they're doing. And then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, how can we connect? Like, what can I do for them? Really just like you said, collaborating because it could be, this person sells t-shirts, person sells t-shirts, and even if one sells more, I always tell myself like people can buy two t-shirts. I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes in our like business minds, we think that people have to be like extreme brand loyalists. Like they're like, I'm not wearing no other t-shirt other than, D17, which I wish they do. That's awesome and all. But then it's like, how can I also get back to what makes people feel good. Like if they do like two brands, sometimes we might be from the same area. We might be from the same sport or whatever. But even if it's a way to bring in new audiences, because that's always my goal, is just like what new audience can I reach out to or can I connect with? Because
Hmm.
you just never know. It's so many people that you meet, that come from different backgrounds, male or female, different colors, different races. It's like you would have never thought they'd be interested in this little idea that I had coming out of college. And now it's like this huge thing that it's like become bigger than me at this point, which is crazy for me to say.
Yeah.
Even though I'm just like a, 1 to 2 man operation. Shout out to my friends that be taking orders to UPS for me. But it's just cool to see people come together, see people kind of get with the message too, whether mainly like with our running stuff. Like it's so many people like, oh, I want to get into running. I'm like, yeah, let me show you the way. I wasn't a runner at
Hmm.
first. And then now it's like, here's some of the resources that I've used. I'm not trying to like gatekeep, everything. Like, I'm not telling you what shoes I got or where I got my shoes or who I run with. I'm like, no, come out. My thing is just like, if you show up, you can do it. Don't keep telling me you're gonna show up and you don't. Because I'm
Yeah,
because I'm out there too. Like,
that's
it's
the
my
worst.
yeah. It's always the participation thing. But I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. But I'm out there too. Like, if I can go make all the stuff, put all together XYZ, and I'm out there too, running and getting my miles in. Um, I think people actually take a real appreciation to that. They're like, oh, well, he's out there doing it too. I'm not just trying to, take pictures and be like, hey, we have running stuff. And then I'm not actually running. Like, no, I have all my accounts and badges. And
Yeah,
I wish I had my little fanny pack with the, little straw, and I have mine and everything. I fill it up with body armor every time I go running with the group. So it's always a great time. And I'm out there struggling too, especially when it starts getting warm. Um, I'm out there sweating and shirt changing color and everything. But like I said, playing soccer too, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I didn't even know what a run was. And they had me playing up top, solo, one up top. And I was like, they're like, just go get it, offsides, offsides, offsides. I'm like, I'm gonna get this thing down. Once I got it down, it was straight. Then I had to figure out the whole second part, which is actually shooting. And
yeah.
my one friend, he played soccer like his whole life, all county and
Mhm.
everything. Then I learned this great thing about I have to lean over the ball when I shoot. Don't lean
Man,
back
and
because
it
I
won't go to the moon.
oh yeah, I caught this one girl. Sorry to her, but I exposed her. So they couldn't catch me. I caught her off of like my friend. He sent me this beautiful through ball. It was literally textbook. And it just caught it, and she played it up. I took off wide open. I had about 10 yards of space between her, myself, and the goal. And then literally, and we hadn't scored all season. This is only like game 3. We hadn't scored yet. And I wound up so hard to let that ball go. Cause usually I'll get too close to the goalie and they'll catch me or they'll come out the cage. I set that thing like a missile. And it looked like it was on par. And it just went over the goal into the parking lot. And then I can just hear my friend. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You gotta lean over it." And I'm like, "I don't know what that means." So, it happens. But I might get back out on the pitch again. I still got the boots actually sitting over there. I had like the New Balance, like the pink ones. So
Yeah, there you go.
I might lace them back up, and I just got to feel at least one goal. I probably had about 20 shots in the season, a lot of just pipes and deflections, but I got to get one feeling just so I can just in the corner for a
Yeah.
adult rec league.
Yeah, you got it. You got to. You
I got
you
I got to
can't you
feel it.
can't retire until you score.
That's the
No
plan.
shot.
I'll
Yeah.
do it. I'll do it till until my knees don't work. It's not the same as lacrosse, but like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just gotta do it. Once if my friend plays with me again and sends me more through balls, now that I know how to not be offsides and I can actually lean over it and actually take a touch versus just like one tap, boom, like FIFA just holding circle and just send it to the top rack. But we'll see. We'll see next time. Maybe
Oh
next
my
fall
God.
we'll get it done.
That's why. So how did you end up in the soccer world if you didn't play growing up at all?
So I had a bunch of friends that actually played um just back in the day, like back in high school, and they played sac or they played like in high school, or they ended up playing at the college level club or even like NCAA or JUCO. Um and I've always just loved like the soccer aesthetic, especially from like the design aspect. It's always like very sleek, very clean, very iconic like pieces, whether it comes to the kits or the boots or being able to look back on a lot of moments or a lot of other brands are like taking inspiration because like everywhere I go, especially as we get closer to 2026, like everything's got 94 World Cup stuff on it. Shoot, I even have a 94 World Cup hat like right next to me. And always being able to see before I was like, oh, where's this all coming from? X, Y, and Z. But I really didn't get into soccer until I think it was the 2014 World Cup because I didn't really understand it at first. But the first game that I ever sat down, I was like, I'm gonna watch this was I believe it was Brazil, Germany when
Oh,
Brazil
you
put up
watched
like
the
seven on.
slaughtering.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
man, I was like, this game is sick. I never sat down and watched it, because my friends played, but I didn't know what was going on. And then sadly, I don't know why I didn't play as a kid. Usually I feel like that's the first sport your parents
yeah,
put you in. It's like, let's go play
yeah,
soccer.
yeah,
But
yeah.
once I did that, and then with D17, so Carlos and I, we went to the same high school. Well, not the same like year, but same alma mater. And actually one of his players at the time, I had class with him when we were in high school. So that's how I kind of saw the team. And I was like, whoa, it's Columbia FC. I was like, this is crazy. It's like grew up there. This is dope. It's like a team that's I can resonate with and actually have like a hometown to cheer for. Cause like I always knew DC United and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or like Baltimore Blast for indoor. But I was like, yeah, this seems cool. And then the more that I sat down with Columbia, the more I sat down with other orgs, you kind of just like fall in love with it. And I'm like, wow, I like sitting down watching just random CONCACAF games on YouTube TV. I'm just
Yeah.
sitting up watching just random stuff, especially around COVID. I'm like, I don't even know who these teams are, but I can sit here and watch this. And then watching the World Cup in 2018. Then it's like, okay, now I'm starting to learn. Like I always knew the stars and everything, stuff like that. But then it's like, okay, let's really learn the countries, the clubs. And I'm like, all right, I think I really like this. And then here we are. I'm just obsessed with it. And all my friends play FIFA. I never played FIFA until like last year. So I think that was like their thing because they get on and they start naming players off, just off the name. They're like, oh, I just got gold card Modric. I'm like, who is that? I'm like, how do they know all these guys? Like, oh yeah, I got Hakimi on the back line, Mbappe up front, I got a this Messi, this R9. I'm like, how are they naming these guys? So, one that shows just the global recognition that you can just go by one name type of thing. And then once I just got more and more around it, the more I just kind of fell in love with it. Here we are, and I'm still in love with it, still
Yeah. We
talking to
got another
teams.
convert, guys. We got another
Yeah,
convert, Soccer World. We got one.
yeah. I told Mike when I was on his show, I gotta find a team to stick with because I don't have one other than like, okay, I'll go to a DC United game, but I was a PSG fan because I liked Mbappe at a
Hmm.
2018, and then like PSG just went Hollywood, and they just got
Yeah.
everybody, and they got the Jordan deal and all that stuff, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be a PSG fan no more, and I really was following the men's national team, and I really
Hmm.
like Jordan Peacock because he's from
Hmm.
DC and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, he's on Union Berlin. But I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
if he leaves, I gotta find a new team. I'll
No,
just
well, you
follow him.
don't. You
But
don't have to. You could still like the team. I was gonna ask you if you've watched the Bundesliga before, because Dortmund is my squad,
yeah,
and before Pulisic, everyone thinks it's because of him, but it was before him.
that's how it
Because
goes.
the thing I put up before, because Royce, but and he's
Yeah.
been there for like 12 years now. So,
Mm,
um, but the Bundesliga is super fun to watch. The fans in England are nuts, but the fans in Germany are like
10
it's just
times.
different. Nah, they're not even as nuts. It's like it's just different. They're different. Like
Yeah.
there's more there's more of a positive feel at the stadiums. I feel
Hmm.
like the atmosphere is still crazy, but like at the English games, you can see them. They're like yelling at people like "you suck," blah blah blah. But like so, it's like there's got that negative like connotation to it.
Yeah.
And Germany is more of a positive feeling. I think at least that's the vibe I get. I'm sure somebody will put in the comments that I'm in it like that I'm stupid, but
I'm ready. I
um,
need to experience it. That's on my bucket list at some point. Is to like
yeah,
go to Europe and experience a game, or just like I just have to feel the roar of just
yeah.
like
When a goal goes
and
in, yeah,
yeah, I just want to be in there with like 80,000 people, and I'm just this little speck of a guy on TV. Just to,
yeah.
I don't even care who it is. So I just want to be able to just write off my bucket list. Like, yeah, I saw a Man City game, just
Yeah. One of my
whatever.
teammates from Fredericksburg Fire, the arena team, he's
Mm,
in Europe right now and he's gone to 4 games when he's in England. So he saw Manchester United play at Old Trafford You
Mm,
saw Brentford play at wherever their place is, and you saw Fulham play at Craven Cottage. He's just like,
mm.
they're going to a game like every day. I was like, that's the way to do it.
That's the goal. My new official, I think it was like end of last year. My goal is to really like pick a team that's on
Mhm.
FIFA and like sponsor them so I can like get D17 in the game. So that's like
That would be
what I'm
sick.
trying to get, but I've been trying to research like every league and like
Hmm.
look up every team. Like it sucks because most of them are in Europe or just like the time zones just like really off because like I can't sit up until midnight trying to like go back and forth to talk like sponsorship deals. And then it's also like I don't want to piss off like Nike or is there
Hey,
something?
hey, nothing against you. They don't care about you.
Hey, that's the risk that I'm willing to take. I'll
They
t-
don't
I'll
care.
take
Like
I'll take that risk.
they've got the whole World Cup.
Yeah,
They don't like, I don't know, you go to like the Japanese league, get one team, be
that's all
like,
I
all right,
need.
you can have that one.
That's all
Go
I
get
need.
NES's team or something like that.
Yeah,
That's wild. So is that what's next for D17? You're gonna try and get more soccer teams and more other stuff? Like give me like a for you personally and then like for the brand itself, like
yeah,
3 to 5 years, like if everything goes great, what are you looking
yeah.
at?
I definitely say I know right now we're looking to like develop a sneaker, whether it's with like a Nike or Adidas or whatever brand feels inclined to collaborate with us. I definitely coming from A6, I really want to get into the sneaker realm. Just being able to, whether it's a lifestyle or like an actual collaboration, let's say it's a boot for a player or something like that,
Hmm.
to be showcased on a bigger stage. I know right now and looking into, I know next year as well, and even like 3 years out from now, we're getting into like the NIL, like name, image, likeness stuff with college athletes, which is great. Right now, a lot of like local athletes, University of Maryland, Towson, Loyola, Goucher, schools, within, I guess you could say, from PA to Virginia, working with them if they're trying to do anything within sports. I'm at the point now where it's like helping the kids as well. Like if they want to get into sports, and I even tell them if my company is not the one that necessarily fits what you're looking for, I'm happy to help like mentor or get you in a position to where you want to go because of my connection that I had with
Hmm.
ASICs. Like I know agents, I know agencies that I'm like, okay, well, maybe you can connect with this person, or you can connect with this person, or you can come stick around with me for like 3 months and we can do some cool stuff together, just to get that exposure, whether it's creating content or, taking pictures, or even, I had one kid, I was like, just come sit in on a meeting with me. You can hear what they're talking about because I wish I had that coming up like in my business
Yeah,
journey.
that's so important.
Yeah, just being able just to expose them to something different, just information wise, because like I said, I'm not Nike, I'm not Adidas, but being able to just hear what those even low level conversations are at the grassroots level. And I know definitely like more in the soccer space, like I'd love to get into FIFA, that'd be sick. But that's like a pipe dream for now because they're probably already making FIFA 24. So I'd have to shoot for 25 now.
Well, they don't have FIFA 24 because they lost the rights to it.
Oh yeah, they did.
Or they chose to not renew. I don't
Oh, they
remember which
did.
one it is, but the game will still be the same probably. But
I'll go to Pez. um,
2K might get it.
yeah,
But EA will still make a game. It'll be like EA Sports FC or something like that.
yeah.
Anyways, keep
We'll
going.
see. We'll see whatever they want to do, and then eventually, I'd really love to like either outfit a team, whether it is maybe like a bigger club that you see on TV and stuff like that, and really work with a lot more athletes because they're also coming up. There's athletes that I've met that are coming up within their careers that they're looking for these sponsorships or looking for a business to partner with that can really help them within their communities as well. And we've been doing it really with D17 within right now, a little bit more with the running and with soccer too, because right now we sponsor 4 teams in the DMV, which is great. Soon to be 5, which will be awesome. And I'd love to be able to get into the kit development, but just not there yet right now. So a lot of the sponsorships are either just monetary or in kind. Like I can help, with practice kits. I can help design the kit. We just can't actually cut and sew, put it
Produce it,
together.
yeah.
Yeah, but it can help whether they're looking for an issue, if they're just looking for, somebody to take photos. I'm like, okay, well, I have a guy that can come out and shoot this for you. I just want the collaboration posts and X, Y, and Z, um, to just help athletics keep growing, especially with that exposure in, the Maryland, Virginia area. And as well, like I said, I really just want a sneaker badly, but we'll get there. But I've already had this whole thing like working with nonprofits and stuff like that. Um, whether it is like kids to, like I said, if they're interested in marketing or design and stuff. I always tell people like I like to show them this is what not an end goal looks like, but this is a route that you can take necessarily. You don't have to think your ideas are just stuck on a computer or in a sketchbook, because that's where all mine were, on the computer and a sketchbook. I didn't realize I could turn it tangibly, mixing, my three loves of athletic, design, and community into what is now what the kids call a brand. But being able to, I know in 5 years, just a bigger operation as well. We're currently moving to like a warehouse space, but it's pretty tiny. I love something a lot bigger, to just be able to create content, do our fulfillment, XYZ, have people come by. I'd love to have like a turf in it or something like that, to like really work with athletes, whether they want to do training there or just like test out product. I can really get more of an idea versus when it's already out there, and more of like the sampling and testing phase. Usually it's just me. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't just take my opinion and like two of my friends. I can definitely get more insight and stuff like that if I had an actual facility to do it in. And I think like a super big picture thing, I'd love to host like my own classic or something, out here. That would be
Mm,
great. Have the kids come out, have like the high schools come out, have these two like powerhouse teams. We don't have to necessarily make anything for them, but just like having a place for them to do it. Like the Marhunt Open,
yeah,
Cup,
yeah.
stuff like that. I'd love to have something, whether it is televised or not, just a way to like raise money for a charity, or getting product out. Like I said, the kids can meet players. Like you never know what those experiences can do for somebody. um no matter what the level is, a kid can meet that. They talk about that, they could be playing in the World Cup one day and like, yeah, I went to the you know D17 El Clasico and I met this guy and he was cool, and I met the owner. I'm there, I might take a PK for the game or something, but you know something like that, just as long as it's fun. And I always care about like the kids and what the next generation can do, because eventually, you know I ain't gonna be here forever. So
Yeah.
whatever comes after me, or what after my lineage of businesses that came after I did, I'm hoping I can be some type of inspiration for them too. Sorry if I just ranted.
No, no, no. That's great. That's good stuff. Well, got one more question for you. If you had one piece of advice for a younger, let's say a 16, 17-year-old you, what did you wish that you knew then?
I wish TikTok existed when I was 16, because I would be like, yo, just get on it, just do something. Or I would definitely say find the passions that like really interest me more at the time. Um, and if I'm trying something new, stay consistent with it. Because there was a lot of times that I'm like, I could try this, but I didn't. I could try this, but I didn't. But it really, if I stayed true to it, I really could have took it somewhere a lot different. I'll even say it like, Twitch, like people get on, they play games and stuff on it. So I
Yeah.
had a Twitch back in like 2014. Like I had it when it first came out on PlayStation 3, or when PlayStation 4 first came out. I had it. I would get on and I'd stream. And that's back when Twitch had like no one on it. It just was there. And then now it's like this huge thing. You see all these streamers and X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, that could have been me if I didn't stop it for like 3 years, then tried to get back on it when the wave already went away. Um, so definitely on the consistency part, and then definitely the passion part, because a lot of things that I think have happened, at least for me personally, were always passion projects that grew into something else. So like my career now, I had a passion for sports. I had a passion for marketing and design. And now I can say even when I was at A6 to where, my job now, it's like I feel like I'm where I need to be, and work a lot of times it doesn't feel like work. When I was at A6, it's cool meeting with pro athletes. It's cool looking at sneakers and shoes all day. It's like, I'm getting paid to do what I would do if I was sitting at home on my phone, looking at sneaker stuff. Now it's like I can take that information and, like you said, monetize or create a product from it. And even like with D17, it's like I don't mind doing the dirty work, whether it's doing the research or trying to design something or trying to learn something new. It doesn't phase me. It almost is like I could stay up till 4 in the morning designing, writing in my journal XYZ. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking. If I did a shoe, this is what it would look like. If I did a marketing campaign, this is what it would look like. It's not work to me, even if it is,
Yeah.
I'm tired or, I'm hungry, I didn't eat. I can sit there and do that. Because I feel like, especially when kids are younger, they go down a path that they don't really want to go to. It's like, oh, I could, I really want to be an artist, but I might do something that they don't really enjoy that much.
Hmm.
Or they might, lose their passions to, study something else or XYZ. Like, don't lose those things, even if you're in like undergrad, you know, go to the anime club, even if you're a business major or a psych major or a bio major, go to the anime club, go to a comedy open mic night, go to jiu-jitsu club or something like that. Like, it doesn't have to stop where you are.
Yeah.
um like I said, I was playing volleyball in college for all 4 years. I never played with the same thing as soccer. I never did that day in my life, but it was just something that exposed me to something different, or even like sitting with someone else at the dining hall or sitting with someone else at lunch. And I've even told um this organization called the B organization in Baltimore that helps kids with like education and like STEM technology. And I told them, I was like, wherever you're sitting at right now, like, look to your left and look to your right. You don't got to be friends for life. Shake somebody's hand, get someone's Instagram, be like, what do you do? Oh, you're a photographer? Well, she's a rapper and he does marketing. Why don't you all link together? You take her pictures, you do her marketing, she makes sounds for you for your Instagram videos. You can always build that little bit community, and you never know who you're going to bump into, because that happened to me when I was 17, because I had a friend, he was a rapper and he
Hmm.
was a marketing major. I was a design major. We worked for the school system together back at Towson. We were RAs in the dorm. And, if my boss didn't tell me, he was like, you should go talk to this guy. You should go talk to Kasim and, see what he says and just link up with them. And we did. And we did beautiful things all through campus, all around like DC and Baltimore. And it's like, you never would have thought that we would link together. And he's like, yo, there's this marketing club on campus. You just come. It's free. Just show up and they teach you marketing. They literally just teach you marketing. There's no grade to it. There's no commitment. You just show up Tuesdays. Things like Tuesdays at 4 to 6, and just
Yeah.
learn marketing. So I was sitting in there learning it, XYZ. And then we had a guest come to the like speaker. They came from Under Armour, and they're like, yeah, this is where we, meet the kids and stuff like that. And XYZ. And they even had Kevin Plank one time come out and just speak to us. And I'm like, I hope they know I'm not a marketing guy. I'm a designer. But I played it off. I'm like, yeah, marketing guy, XYZ, and all this stuff. So you gotta take the opportunity when it's in front of you. Um and just take advantage of it. Just keep exposing yourself to new stuff like every day. I even do it now. I went to Barnes and Nobles and bought 9 books. I don't even read like that. I don't even remember the last time I read a book, but I bought the book so I could sit down, learn something new, take some notes and everything, and just go from there. Now, I definitely ate a little bit with the budget, with the books that I bought. That the pile is getting a little dusty, but I did it. I have to keep exposing myself to new things, or I'm just going to remain stagnant. which I'm
Yeah.
glad I didn't when I was 16, 17. But there were times that I was like, well, I don't think I could really start a clothing brand. I don't think I really could do this because I didn't even start D17 literally until I think I graduated like 4 days later, like literally from undergrad. I just was sitting in my apartment with my roommate and I was like, yo, I think I'm gonna start a clothing brand. And he was like, yeah, just do it. Like he encouraged me to do it. But I wish I had that idea when I was coming in. I had 4 years to really make a lot of mistakes and then jump
Mm.
into it when the real world came. So by the time I got to the like real world, I had to get a job. I had to pay off student loans. I had to get a car, I had to pay rent, stuff like that. So it was kind of hard to fund the passion versus like let me figure out what that is. And I could have defined it earlier um to really turn it into something. Even if it doesn't, like it is what it is. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go over and, you know, talk down to myself if D17 doesn't go to where I want it to go. Even if it doesn't, I can look back when I'm like 50 and be like, hey, I tried it. I at least did it. I don't have a regret about where it went. Because that's now from 16 to me to now like 56 me.
Yeah.
I can say like I did it. I did it. It is what it is. I might still wear the hoodies if they're still intact. They probably will be. And I'm 56. And then go from there. That's
You know what's
that's the
wild
that's the fun
is
part.
everyone who's done something similar to you, whether it's like music stuff or photographers or whoever, they all say basically the same thing, which is like, I wish I had started a little bit earlier,
Hmm.
and I wish I had exposed myself to a few more things, and then it was more work than I thought it was going to be, but it doesn't feel like work now. That's like
Yeah.
the three things. And so like to the point I made earlier about boiling everything down to like that,
Hmm.
all everyone has said basically the same things. So
It happens
yeah.
because usually one thing that I've kind of picked up with D17, just like talking to people and stuff like that, that it's always like, oh, I didn't know, or oh, I've never heard of this before. Like even when it was starting the business, I didn't know how to like print the stuff. I didn't know how to do a whole bunch of things. But if I had known somebody that kind of did it, then I'd have an idea. So now I'm at the point like, what opportunities and things can I do outside of just making t-shirts and hoodies and stuff? Can I expose people to some facet of the business, whether it's the photography, the marketing, actually starting a business, actually getting trademarks, getting an LLC, how to do all that stuff? Because I didn't know, I'm on tax jar and Google like everybody else trying to figure it out. And then it's like, how can I not saying I'm taking the brunt on myself, but even like the running stuff. I mean, I still get people today, they're like, oh, I want to get into running, but I hate it. And I'm like, you're gonna have to do it at some point because
Yeah.
it's we're gonna get old. Like you can't go benching 260 when you're older. Like you're gonna have to change the way that you exercise. I was just telling my friend, we played lacrosse together, and now we're talking about running, and we're not even talking about weightlifting. We're talking about building core, building your back,
Yeah.
focusing on like increasing your flexibility and range of motion because that's stuff that's going to sustain you a lot longer than blowing my knees out trying to squat 350 every weekend, which is dope though. I think it's sick to
Yeah.
push that
Yeah.
much weight. I never could, but eventually I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. And when I go running, especially these races, I'm still in my 20s, but it's guys 50, 60 burning the brakes off of me. And I feel bad because, they're like, oh, keep up, young fella. I'm like, how are these guys,
That's the
how are
worst.
these?
That's
Yeah.
the worst.
But that's kind of like what I've learned now, what I'm calling like the life cycle. Like, you play sports XYZ when you're a kid, high school, you might define it, whether your specific area, it could be soccer, football, basketball, field hockey, volleyball, XYZ. You kind of keep it going, and then it kind of like goes down because either just life happens, you don't have the time. Like I used to play golf, I still do. I don't have the time to go to the range 4 hours a day like I did before. and then go work out X, Y, and Z. But I can get a run in anytime. I can take
Yeah.
30 minutes to go run or take 30 minutes to stretch or do yoga or some type of like Pilates or something, to keep myself still physically strong, versus just like 16-year-old me would have been like, oh, if I'm not doing Olympic lifts every day and squatting and deadlifting and benching, then eventually, when you get to those age or later ages, you're like, and my knees are killing me, my back is killing me. I've
Yeah,
been doing
man.
it wrong the whole time, which, it just happens. But like I said before, being able just to expose yourself to that stuff earlier on, like you said, whether it is a photographer or something, like I'll tell a kid, I met a kid on Instagram when I was doing one of the free releases. I think he's like 19. And he's like, oh, I've been trying to shoot sports photography. I do that for work. So I'm not the photographer, but I do creative direction for like sports teams and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, I'm doing a release in March. You want to come shoot with me? He's like, oh, that'd be so cool. It kind of gave him the opportunity to think like, I can do something with this camera. And then it's like, all right, well, you can come with me and we can do this together. I mean, you'll get paid and stuff like that. But it gave him an opportunity earlier versus him trying to do it later. Or I also just linked up with this young lady. She plays volleyball and she's been looking for an internship. And I'm like, well, I definitely would love to help you because eventually, if she can't find one, she's going to be like, well, maybe this ain't for me. Or, just she'll go somewhere else and kind of change what she wanted to do versus what she needs to do. Um, that kind of disconnect is there. Or even if it is Columbia FC, we were doing the sponsorships early on. It's like I've learned over time, like a lot of these, it's not a lot of the organizations, but there is times that the org can't sustain or it can't do stuff unless it has the sponsorships. So they need the sponsorships in order for the organization to, one, thrive, and two, keep going. Because the more years are around, the more players they'll get, the more feeder it'll be. And like, if I didn't know about all that stuff, so shout out to Carlos, because he was like teaching me as
Yeah.
I was sponsoring him, all like, this is the way of the business, this is the way, the sport or any, sponsorship goes. This is how, organizations need help, or they're just looking to expand because they're like, okay, we need to get 6 sponsors because we want to get a field now. The two are great for kits and training and cup fees, but now we're trying to get a field. We got to get a field sponsor. You got to get a food sponsor. You got to get a stadium sponsor, building that
Yeah.
out. But I didn't know that. So still, even I'm getting exposed to new stuff day to day. But if someone can do that for me, I can do that for somebody else, whether older or younger. It wherever it is in their journey, if I can kind of play that role,
Yeah.
it's just what really is passionate for me. If it, like I said, if it's a business, photography, or music, it could be, shoot, it could be accounting. I just learned how to do Excel. So, everybody knows something that you didn't know. And now I'm at the point where,
Yes, that's a huge, I say that all the time. Everybody knows
yeah,
something that you don't know.
they know something, and you gotta not, and that's definitely back to 16-year-old me. He was a little wiener back in the day. You're not the smartest guy in the room all the time. You got to realize there's someone that knows something, like you said, that you don't know, and it's a skill that can definitely really help, or it can really like transform everything. Because, like I said, I didn't
Yeah.
know marketing before, but now I've been in marketing now almost, I'll be almost 10 years in marketing, in a couple years. But if I had never said, okay, let me listen to my friend who's a marketer and really learn, because I thought, I could create something and everyone's going to love it, but I don't know how to market it. And then it's like, if I never took that risk, expose myself to that realm, I wouldn't even be here today. So, it's just information and education at this point, and making it more accessible, whether it is with sports, um, business, design, technology. Shoot, shout out to TikTok because I get a lot of stuff off of there. I'm just
Yeah.
like, what? Some of these people, I don't know what the heck they be coming up with, other than like the dancing videos. Even the dancing videos, I'm like, shoot, if if I really like dancing more, I could have did that and been on Fortnite or something like that. But even if it is just information that life or business, I'm like, man, I never would have thought of that. I literally get on TikTok at least like an hour a day just to see something. It could be something's wearing. I'm like, I never thought I could put lime green with brown, something
Yeah.
like that. Or like running. People are talking about their running issues. They're talking about their sports issues. And how can I solve those problems? Um, it's just associated with the logo.
Yeah. That's another thing that a lot of people who are in the like the social media space when they talk about consuming content is it's not like mindless scrolling. It's like paying attention to like, and I do the
It's
same thing when I scroll through when I'm doing like when I'm making content for the soccer channel.
mm,
It's like, okay, what kind of drills are people doing? How can I tweak this drill? Why is he doing that drill that way? Like that's how I'm scrolling for. And it's
yeah,
super interesting to see that because I'll talk to other friends who are not in that at all. And they're just like, dude, I just wasted an hour scrolling through Instagram reels or whatever. And I'm like, huh. It's
yeah,
like it's kind of like knowing what to look for, knowing what not to look for.
mm,
Like because I also used to just scroll with for no reason other than to like kill time or whatever. But now
yeah,
I've been I'm sure you know this too. When you've got a job and a side hustle or when your job is like I don't know if you're full time or not, but like it starts to you start to not have time to waste on social media. So then when you're on social
yeah,
media, you have to like look for specific things like, okay, people are starting their reels by going this thing, and then the text pops up, or like people
yeah.
are doing it that way, or like all the different like things or like which sounds people are using on shorts and like all the things that is kind of
It it's so minute. It's
yeah.
crazy because even when oh, I don't get in trouble for it. Who cares? Even when I was at A6, we were actually going back. So I do social media full time, and like obviously D17, I have to do
Mhm.
social media to stay alive,
Yeah.
literally, to get the word out, collections and stuff. I remember there was at one point we were looking. Now this was next level to me. I never even thought of this because it's sneakers, right? We were comparing the data, and this is where like my I guess like left brain, right brain really kicks in, like creative and like the numbers.
Hmm.
We were looking at the data at literally if a picture on social media of the shoe, if it was the left one, the right one, both of them facing the left, or both of them facing the right. And then it's crazy when we were looking at the competitors, everybody was doing only the left shoe facing um to the right. That was like every account.
So the outside of the shoe.
Yeah, so like the
Yeah,
outside of
yeah.
the shoe. And then I forgot who did it. It was I forgot the brand. I think it was Hoka or Brooks Running. They did one where it was like, okay, what's the number if someone is wearing the shoe versus content with people that are not wearing the shoe? And we found out that content where no one is wearing the shoe is just floating there didn't perform as well as the ones that someone is actually wearing the shoe facing left to right versus just like it there, or they liked it if it was like an artistic like background or someone holding them, something like that, like in motion or X, Y, and Z.
Mm.
That it's like even when I'm on social, I'm like looking at sneaker pages and I'm like, okay, I know why they did this. I know why they did this. And then eventually that trend starts to fold. Cause like you said, if you're watching TikTok and everyone's like, 5 reasons why I love McDonald's. And then you start getting annoyed because you're like, five
Everyone's
reasons why I
doing it.
love McDonald's, 5 reasons why you should moisturize after the shower, 5 reasons. And then you're just like, oh my God, I'm sick of everyone giving me 5 reasons. But then you see someone where they gave 3 reasons and you're like, wow, this is refreshing. It's not
Yeah, and
five,
they
it's
po- and
three.
they pointed that way instead of
Yeah.
up, and then like that's the new one.
Yeah. And then it's like, here's things I love: basketball, uh, PSG and the Brooklyn Nets. And then you're like, oh man, this is great. And being able to see that and interpret it, like you said, I don't have time to waste looking. And I love looking at the funny stuff on there, but it's
Of
also
course.
like either I'm critiquing something or I'm getting away. Like, okay, I just want to sit here and listen to, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z clips, or
Yeah.
Pokemon highlights. I'm just like, all right, I can sit here and look at this and just mindlessly tune off everything. Or it's like, okay, I can learn about, even this shoot, I was looking at, podcast clips, and then here we are. All it takes is a
Yeah.
DM and a little bit of free time. And here we are, Tuesday.
That's for sure. All right. Dude, this has been a great conversation. I really
Yeah,
appreciate your time. Where can the people
awesome.
find you on socials, the websites, all that stuff?
Yeah, really, you can just find me at D17 Terrance.com, Twitter, Instagram, social, the clothes, just D17 clothing. It's all connected. D17clothing.com.shop. You'll see us on a couple of turf fields out here in Maryland. I'm hoping within the next couple of months, at least when it gets warm. Um, or just go to your nearest pitch anywhere within within Maryland to Virginia. I'm probably on the back of someone's jersey.
There you go. There you go. We'll put all the links in the description as well. But guys, go check him out. It's got a bunch of cool stuff coming. It's been great. With that, guys, we'll see you next time. Peace.